In our last class, students, we have discussed regarding production function. And I have told you that production function is classified under two heads as short-term production function and long-term production function, or you can say short-run production function and long-run production function. So what is short-run production function? We all know that for production, factors of production are highly required, right? Those factors of production are divided into two parts. They are fixed factors and variable factors. You see, in a short period or in a short run, if we want to increase production, we cannot increase all the factors of production. There are some factors of production can be increased, the size or amount of some factors of production can be increased, whereas some other factors of production will have to remain constant. Their size cannot be increased or their size cannot be changed in a short run, right? But in a long run, if we want to increase our production, if we want to change the size or amount of production, we can increase all the factors of production. We can increase the size of all the factors of production like land, labor, capital, etc. Right? So, production function can be classified as short-run production function and in long-run production function. In short-run production function, I have told you that law of variable proportion exhibits, right? You see, today in this part we will discuss regarding the laws associated with short-run production function and long-run production function. So, in short-run production function, I have told you that law of variable proportions exhibits or can be operated, right? So, now we will discuss what is law of variable proportion. Law of variable proportions relates to short-run production function, I have told you. In the short run, we cannot increase the quantity of all factors of production to increase the total production. During a short period, keeping some factors fixed, we can increase some other factors to increase the production. I have told you already and we have discussed in short run production function that in short run it is not enough time. There is no enough time. The time is not enough to change all the factors of production. Only we can change some factors of production in a short run to increase total production. So, during a short period, keeping some factors fixed, we can increase some other factors to increase the production. This law means the law of variable proportions. It examines the production function when one factor is variable and other factors are kept constant. Keeping some factor fixed, when one factor will be variable, the size of one factor is changed, then you see the proportion between fixed factor and variable factor will change. So that is the law of variable proportion. When the proportion in between fixed factor and variable factor changes or varies, what will be the result? What will be its effect on the total output, on the total product, marginal product and average product? That is to be studied in the law of variable proportion. Here we study the effect of a change in one factor on total output while keeping other factors constant. When we change the size of one factor and keep other factors constant, its result, or we can say the effect of the variable factor on the total production, on the average production, on the marginal production, that will be studied in this law. So when we increase the quantity of the variable factor, keeping some other factors fixed, the proportion between fixed and variable factors change. That is why it is known as law of variable proportions. By changing the proportion of fixed and variable factors, or by increasing the proportion of variable factor to fixed factor, their effect on the production process or on total product average product and marginal product is seen in this law. For this, the law is known as law of variable proportions. According to this law, if more and more units of a variable factors are employed, if more and more units of a variable factor are employed with fixed factors, the total product increases at an increasing rate in the beginning, then it increases at a diminishing rate, then finally it starts falling. So what is the result on total product? Keeping some factors fixed and a particular factor variable, the result is in the initial stage the total product increases at an increasing rate. Remember it. In the initial stage, by increasing the size of variable factor, the total product increases at an increasing rate in the beginning, in the initial stage. Then it increases at a diminishing rate. Then finally it starts falling. Right? According to Benham, an economist, as the proportion of one factor in a combination of factors is increased, after a point, first the marginal and then the average product of the factor will diminish. Again, as the proportion of one factor in a combination of factors are taken, generally they are taken, combination of factors, group of factors are taken for production. But if the proportion of one factor in a combination of factor is increased, after a point, first the marginal and the average product of the factor will diminish. Average product of the factor means what? What factor? It is variable factor, changeable factor, right? So this is the definition given by Benham. Now the law of variable proportion is based on certain assumptions. You see, they are: number one, what are the conditions for the operation of the law of variable proportion? They are known as assumptions. They are: number one, the technique of production must remain unchanged. Number one, the technique of production, they must remain unchanged. If you change the technique of production, then this law may not operate. Right? Number two, at least one factor is fixed and all other factors are variable. At least one factor is fixed. We have to keep some factors fixed, some factors remaining fixed or constant, when other factors are variable. Number three, all units of variable factors must be homogeneous. Right? They must be identical. They must be similar. They must be equal. The units of variable factors must be identical. They must be exactly same. Right? In efficiency, in technique, okay, in skill. Right? Next. The law of variable proportions can be explained by taking the example of agriculture. Now we will explain the law of variable proportions by taking an example, and here we have taken the example of agriculture. Suppose land and labor are the only two factors to be used for agricultural production. We have taken here land and labor, two factors to be used for agricultural production. You see, land and labor only taken. What is land? Land is a fixed factor. We cannot increase or decrease the size of land. Labor, what is labor? Labor is a variable factor, right? We have taken one fixed factor and the other variable factor. By keeping land as fixed factor, if we increase the amount of labor as variable factor on land, the direction in which MP means marginal product, and AP, average product of labor, as well as total product changes, can be explained with the use of following table and diagram. You see, the law of variable proportion, I have told you that it is a short-run production law. It relates to short-run production function. within a short period or in a short run, if we want to increase the size of production, the amount of production, we cannot increase all the factors of production, because it is short run means, short period means it is a very short time during which we cannot increase, we cannot change the size of each and every factor of production. So within a short period, we have to, some factors, the size of some factors will remain fixed, constant. They are known as constant factors, they are known as fixed factors. And within a short period, the amount of which factor can be changed, that is known as variable factor. Suppose there are two factors we are taking, land and labor. You see, in a short run, the size of land cannot be changed, it is a fixed factor, and the size of labor can be changed, it is a variable factor, right? So when we apply more and more units of labor to a particular land, to a fixed size of land, what will be the effect of labor as variable factor on total product, on marginal product, and on average product can be discussed or can be known by the law of variable proportions. And here how we have taken the example of agriculture, and I have told you that there are two factors taken here, land and labor. Land is the fixed factor and labor is the variable factor. So by increasing the size of labor to land, naturally the size of land remains constant. If we increase the size of labor from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, naturally the proportion will be what? Land is to labor, 1 is to 0, 1 is to 1, 1 is to 2, 1 is to 3, 1 is to 4, 1 is to 5, right? Though their proportion will change. When their proportion changes or varies, what will be the result on the marginal product, average product, and total product? That will be seen in the law of variable proportions, right? Now we will go to the following table, and then to the diagram to explain the law. Come to the table. You see, in this table, it is written short-run production function, and in quintals means the product is measured in quintals, this much of this, right? 2 quintals, 6 quintals, right? Like that. You see in the table, mark it. In the first column, units of fixed factor. Fixed factor I have told you, out of land and labor, which is fixed factor? Land is fixed factor. Unit of fixed factor, that is unit of land, is taken as 1 acre. Only 1 acre. The size of land remains constant or fixed at 1 acre. In the second column, units of labor are taken, and you mark here in the column, in every row, the number of laborers going to be increased from 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, like that. Then fixed factor and variable factor are written. Fixed factor is land, that is taken as 1 acre. Units of labor, in units, they are given. Now come to the third column, total product, TP, in quintals. Fourth column, average product, and in fifth column, marginal product is mentioned. Okay, and the last remark line, we are giving the remark that in phase 1 what is happened, in phase 2 what is happened, in phase 3 what is happened, and what is that, right? Now you see how proportion changes. Units of land is to labor. At first, unit of land, size of land is 1 unit, 1 acre. Units of labor 0. So what is the proportion? 1 is to 0, then 1 is to 1, then 1 is to 2, then 1 is to 3, 1 is to 4, 1 is to 5, 1 is to 6, 1 is to 7, 1 is to 8, 1 is to 9. That 1 is to 9 means 1 unit of land, but 9 units of laborers, right? So you see here that with a fixed size of land, the size of labor is increased in order to bring about an increase in the production. But what happened, that we will mark in the rest columns. You see, at first, in 1 acre of land, when 0 units of laborers are applied, that means what? 0 means nothing, no labor. Then automatically land is the passive factor of production, it cannot produce by itself anything. So the total product becomes 0, average product becomes 0, and marginal product becomes also 0 in the first row. Come to the second row, 1 acre of land, same, units of labor has been increased to 1, from 0 to 1. What is total product? 2 quintals. What is average product? 2 by 1, that is 2 quintals. What is marginal product? 2 minus 0, that is 2 quintals. In the third row, 1 is to 2, when the proportion is taken as 1 is to 2, land is to labor. What is total product? 6 quintals, increases total product. Average product, 3 quintals. How 3 quintals we have derived? 6 by 2, total product by number of laborers. Then what is marginal product? It is the increase in total product from 2 to 6, means 4 quintals, marginal product. Similarly, in the when third unit of labor is taken, total product becomes 12, average product becomes 4 quintals, and marginal product becomes 6 quintals. As 4 units of labor is taken, fourth unit of labor is taken, total product increases to 16 quintals, average product remain at the same 4 quintals, marginal product becomes 4 quintals. Mark it. After using the third unit of labor, you see in the third, fourth and fifth column, total product, average product and marginal product goes on increasing only up to third unit of labor employed. When fourth unit of labor employed, total product increases, no doubt, but average product remains constant at 4 quintals and marginal product decreases from 6 quintals to 4 quintals. Mark it. Again, when fifth unit of labor is applied, total product increases to 18 quintals, average product starts falling from 4 quintals to 3.6 quintals, and marginal product becomes 2 quintals. Right. When sixth unit of labor is applied to the fixed land, total product remains constant at 18 quintals, no increase. Average product further falls to 3 quintals. Marginal product becomes 0. Okay, nothing. Marginal product of labor becomes 0. Right? When seventh unit of labor is applied, total product starts falling to 16 quintals. Average product starts falls to 2.3 quintals. And marginal product of the labor becomes negative. When 8th unit of labor is applied, total product further falls to 12 quintals. Total product further falls to 12 quintals. Average product 12 by 8, that is equal to 1.5 quintal, falls to 1.5 quintals, and marginal product of the 8th unit of labor is minus 4 quintals, that is negative return. And when 9th unit of labor is applied to the fixed factor, total products fall to 6 quintals, average product further falls to 0.66 quintals, and marginal product becomes negative at minus 6 quintals. Right, mark it. You see, up to third unit of labor applied in the process, total product goes on increasing at an increasing rate. Mark it. Why total product goes on increasing at an increasing rate up to third unit of labor applied? Because the marginal product of the labor goes on increasing up to that point. You see, marginal product of first labor was 2 quintal, second labor was 4 quintal, and third labor was 6 quintal. But after that, after the third unit of labor applied, or since the fourth unit of labor is applied in the production process, the marginal product starts falling from 6 quintals to 4 quintals, and average product remains constant at that point. As marginal product starts falling, that means marginal product increases only by 4 quintals, so total product increases only by 4 quintals. That means it came to 16 quintals from 12 quintals, right? 1/5 unit of labor similarly applied. Marginal product increases only by 2 quintals, so total product increases only by 2 quintals, and it becomes 18 quintal, right? Now you see, when the sixth unit of labor is applied, total product remains at same 18 quintal. Why? How? It remains same in 18 quintals only because the marginal product of the sixth labor becomes 0. 18 plus 0, that is 18. You see, but after the application of sixth unit of labor in the production process, right, you see, the marginal product of the labor becomes negative. It becomes minus. So the total product goes on falling, starts falling from 18 quintal to total product comes to 16 quintal, then to 12 quintal, then to 6 quintals, because the marginal product goes on falling by minus 2 quintal, minus 4 quintal, and minus 6 quintals, and thus at the same time the average products also starts falling. But the average product did not reach at the 0 point. You mark it. Only marginal, when marginal product becomes 0, total product becomes maximum from this table market, and after it, when marginal product starts falling, that means becomes negative, total product starts falling. You see here. Okay, you see here. Here you see marginal product becomes 0, mark it. When sixth unit of labor is applied, at that point total product is 18 quintals, right? 18 quintals. But after that, when marginal product of the labor becomes minus 2, minus 4, and minus 6, by applying 7, 8, and 9th unit of labor, total product starts falling from 18 quintals to 16 quintals, from 16 quintals to from 12 quintals, from 12 quintals to from 6 quintals. So you see here, up to third unit of labor applied in the production process, or when the proportion of labor and land and labor becomes 1:3, at that point the marginal product is maximum and the total product increases at an increasing rate up to that point. And up to third unit of labor is applied in the production process. In that phase is known as total product goes on increasing, marginal product goes on increasing, and you see average product goes on increasing up to third unit of labor applied in the production process or in the cultivation of land. So this phase is known as, you mark here, stage of increasing return. Stage of this stage, the initial stage, the first stage of production process, that is up to third unit of labor is applied. As marginal product, average product, and total product goes on increasing, this stage is known as stage of increasing return, right? Then come to the second stage. Since the fourth unit of the labor is applied, up to sixth unit of labor is applied in the cultivation process, in the production process, you see marginal product starts falling from 4 units, 4 quintals to 2 quintals to 0 quintal, right? At the same time, you see total product increases at first by 2 quintals, okay, 16 to 18, then 18 to 18, that means by 0 quintals it increases, right? So you mark here, it is the stage where total product increases only at a diminishing rate, average product starts falling, starts diminishing, and the marginal product goes on diminishing. You see, this is the stage of diminishing return, stage 2, phase 2, that is the stage of diminishing return. First one is stage of increasing return. Up to fourth unit, up to third unit of labor is applied in the production process. But from fourth to sixth unit of labor, the stage is known as stage of diminishing return. It is the phase 2 of production process. Now we'll come to the third stage, where the marginal product of labor or the variable factor becomes negative. You see, when seventh unit of labor is applied, marginal product becomes minus 2. That's why the total product diminishes, falls by 2 quintals, from 18 quintals to 16 quintals. Why total product falls from 18 quintals to 16 quintals when 7th unit of labor is applied? Because the marginal product of 7th unit of labor is minus 2 quintal. That's why it falls from 18 to 16 quintal, and at the same time it is also falling, the average product or AP is also falling. When 8th unit of labor is applied in the cultivation of land, you see, the marginal product of the 8th unit of labor becomes minus 4 quintal. That's why the total product also falls by minus 4, 16 to 12. It comes to 12 quintals from 16 quintals. It increases by minus 4 quintals. When the 9th unit of labor is applied, total product becomes 6 quintals. Why? Because the marginal product of 9th unit of labor is minus 6 quintals. So when we add minus 6 to 12 quintals, naturally it becomes 6 quintals. You see, this is the process in the third stage. That is why the phase 3 or third phase or third stage is known as stage of negative return. It is the stage of negative return. So this is all about the table. You see, clearly try to clearly understand the table. We have taken here 5 columns. No doubt 6 columns are, remark column is also given. In the first column we have taken the size of land as fixed factor. In the second column we have taken units of labor. In the third column total product is mentioned, TP. In the fourth column average product, AP, and in the fifth column marginal product. And here we have written the remarks, right? So all about, I will again discuss regarding the summary of the table. You see, from the table we can easily understand about the law and the result of the law. Okay, what is the effect of variable proportion, law of variable proportion? Or when we change the size of variable factor to a constant fixed factor, then what will be its result on total product, average product, and marginal product? We have already learned. Okay, so at first we know the marginal product of the variable factor increases, and when marginal product of the variable factor increases from time to time by using one more unit of labor and laborers, at that time total product increases, average product also increases. In the second stage, and this stage is known as stage of increasing return. That's why it is known as stage of increasing return, because total product goes on increasing, marginal product goes on increasing, and average product goes on increasing. In the second stage, that is known as stage of diminishing return, you see, total product starts diminishing. Why? Because marginal product also starts diminishing. As marginal product of the labor of the variable factor goes on diminishing, total product goes on diminishing. And at that time, average product also goes on diminishing, and this is known as stage of diminishing return. In the third stage, you see, total product goes on falling. Total product goes on falling from 16 to 12 to 6 quintals. Average product also goes on falling, but marginal product becomes negative. As marginal product of the labor or the variable factor becomes negative, this is the stage of negative return. So the law of variable proportion is nothing but a combination of three stages. They are stage 1, stage of increasing return, stage 2, stage of diminishing return, and stage 3, stage of negative return. Right? You see? So in the above table, this is the table. In the above table, the quantity of fixed factor or land remains constant at 1 acre. I have already told you. With an increase in the amount of labor on the fixed factor or land, total product in the beginning stage increases at an increasing rate. In the above table, we can see that up to third unit of labor employed, total product increases at an increasing rate. Up to third unit of labor applied, you see here, up to third unit of labor applied, total product increases at an increasing rate. Increasing rate means by this rate, by 2 quintals, by 4 quintals, by 6 quintals, it increases. Then in the above table, we can see that up to third unit of labor employed, total product increases at an increasing rate. In the meantime, marginal product goes on increasing. We have already seen. Average product also goes on increasing in this stage. So this is the stage of increasing return. This stage is known as the stage of increasing return. Which stage? The first stage of law of variable proportion is known as the stage of increasing returns. In the second stage, up to 6th unit of labor employed, you see, up to 6th unit of labor employed, total product increases at a diminishing rate. Marginal product goes on falling. The average product also goes on falling in this stage. So this stage is known as stage of diminishing return. Come to the table. You see, in the second stage, total product increases at it is the second stage, starts when 4th unit of labor is employed. In the second stage, total product increases at a diminishing rate. At first it increases from 16 to 18, that means by 2 quintals. Then from 18 to 18, that means by 0 quintals. So why it increases? Because marginal product goes on falling, 4 quintals to 2 quintals to 0 quintals. So this is stage 2 of law of variable proportion, which is known as stage of diminishing return. Then in the third stage, since the employment of 7th unit of labor, up to 9th unit of labor is employed, total product starts falling as marginal product of labor becomes negative. Remember it. Why total product starts falling? Because the marginal product of the labor becomes negative. The average product also goes on falling, though not negative. This stage is known as stage of negative return. Come to the table. You see, in the third stage, total product, you see, where is total product? Total product starts falling. It was previously when 6th unit of labor was employed, total product was maximum at 18 quintals. 18 quintals. Now, since the 7th unit of labor is employed, right, total product starts falling from 18 quintals to 16 quintals. When 8th unit of labor is employed, total product starts from 16 quintals to 12 quintals. When 9th unit of labor employed, total product starts from 12 quintals to 6 quintals. Right? So, why total product starts falling? Because the marginal product of the laborers becomes negative. The marginal product of the 7th unit of labor is minus 2 quintal. Marginal product of the 8th unit of labor is minus 4 quintal. The marginal product of 9th unit of labor is minus 6 quintal. As the marginal product of the laborers becomes negative, total product starts falling. In the meantime, the average product also starts falling. But as the marginal product becomes negative, this is known as the stage of negative return. This is known as the stage of negative return. Now we will graphically present the above table. Okay, come to the diagram. Mark it clearly. It is graphic representation of the law of variable proportions. OX, this is OX. You see here O is written. This is OX. This is OX line, right? This is X, OX line. This is OY line. This is OY line. In OX line, we have taken the units of labor. We have taken the units of labor. Okay, OX line represents the units of labor and OY line represents the total product, average product and marginal product of the labor or variable factor. You mark, there are three graphs. Number one is total product, three curves. Okay, number one is total product curve. This is total product curve. Then number two is average product curve. Okay, it is average product, average AP curve. And number three is marginal product curve. This is marginal product curve. You mark it. It is marginal product curve. It is indicated here. This is total. This color symbolizes total product. This color symbolizes average product. And this symbolizes marginal product. You see, when 0 units of variable factor was applied, total product becomes 0 at that point. At this point, marginal product becomes 0, and average product also becomes 0. When 1 unit of labor is applied to the fixed land, to the 1 acre of land, total product becomes 2 at this point. Average product becomes 2 and marginal product also becomes 2. It is already mentioned in the table. Mark it. According to table, it is done. It is drawn. Now you see, when the third unit of labor is employed, what is marginal product? Marginal product becomes 4 units, 4 quintals. It is written here. Average product 3 quintals. Average product here 3 quintals. Marginal product 4 quintals. And total product 6 quintals. You see. When 4th unit of labor is employed, here marginal product becomes 6 quintals. Average product 4 quintals. Marginal product 6 quintals. And total product becomes 12 quintals. You mark this line OL. This is mentioned as OL. Your L is here. So this line represents that marginal product becomes maximum at this point. That is 4. That is 6 quintals. So as marginal product increases up to this point, total product also increases, but it increases at an increasing rate. You see, total product from 0 to 2 increases by 2 quintals. Then total product becomes 6. That means by 4 quintals. Why by 4 quintals it increases? Because marginal product becomes 4. Then total product becomes 12 quintals. Why it becomes 12 quintals? That means plus 6 quintals. Plus 2, plus 4, plus 6 quintals. Why? Because the marginal product is 6 quintal. Marginal product of the third labor is 6 quintal. That's why total product increases by 6 quintals and it comes to 12 quintals. So this is market. This is known as point of inflection. That means it is the maximum point. It is the point up to which the total product increases at an increasing rate. After that, no doubt it increases up to 18, but it increases only at a diminishing rate. You mark here, from 12 to 16, it increases by 4 quintals. From 16 to 18, it increases by 2 quintals. From 18 to 18, it increases by 0 quintal. Right? So up to this point, total product increases but it increases only at a diminishing rate. So you see here, up to this point, when average product and marginal product coincides with each other, right? And average product is at its maximum point, that is at 4, right? You see, at this point the first stage of law of variable proportion ends. So the first stage of law of variable proportion ends when average product and marginal product coincides with each other, right? And thereafter starts the second stage of production. You mark here, up to 4th unit of labor is employed. You see in the table, come to the table, come to the table. Since 4th unit of labor employed, okay, or up to 4th unit of labor is employed, the law of variable proportion was in its first stage, that was in the stage of increasing return. After that it comes to stage of diminishing return. After that it comes to stage of negative return. Okay, so here you see, then in the second stage starts when average product and marginal product meets each other. Here you see, average product and marginal product meets each other. At this point the second stage starts. Marginal product, average product becomes 4 quintals, marginal product becomes 4 quintals. So in this stage the second stage starts at this point, from this point, okay, from OM up to OM, it was in first stage of production, law of variable proportion. From M to N, OM to ON, it was in second stage of production, law of variable proportion. You see, second stage starts when average product and marginal product becomes equal or coincides with each other or meet each other. Then second stage ends at the point where marginal product becomes 0. You see here, your marginal product becomes 0. Your marginal product becomes 0. OX line, this is OX line, it is 0. Then at this point total product becomes maximum. Average product becomes 3 quintals, marginal product becomes 0 quintals, it is mentioned here 0 quintals, it is 3 quintals average product, and total product becomes 18 quintals. So total product becomes maximum only when marginal product becomes 0. And the second stage of production, second stage of law of variable proportion ends at this point. After that the third stage begins, and in the third stage you mark the marginal product. This is marginal product curve, this is marginal product curve. It becomes negative after point N. It becomes negative, -2, -4, -6, and accordingly the total product starts falling. Okay, the total product starts falling from 18 quintals to 16 quintal, from 16 quintals to 12 quintals. Okay, you see here 12 quintals, and from 12 quintals to 6 quintals. So in the third stage, marginal product, total product starts falling, average product goes on falling, and as marginal product becomes negative, this stage is known as stage of negative return. So this stage, first stage, is known as stage of increasing return, this is known as stage of diminishing return, and this is known as stage of negative return. Remember it. How to draw that diagram, you see. So we have to take in OX line or OX axis, we have to take the units of variable factor or units of labor in OX line, and in OY line we have to take total product, average product, and marginal product. Then we have to draw the total product curve according to the table. We have to draw the marginal product curve according to the table, and we have to draw the average product curve on the basis of the table, and this is how they are. Okay. Now it is seen that in the above diagram, during the first stage of production, by employing more and more units of labor, marginal product tends to rise till OL units of labor. Till OL units of labor, you see here, till OL units of labor, marginal product becomes rising. Then the total product also goes on increasing at an increasing rate up to that point. Average product goes on increasing during the first stage. This is the stage of increasing return. First stage of the law of variable proportion ends at point M. I have told you. First stage ends at point M. You see here, first stage ends. This is the line of first stage. This is the limit of first stage. Okay. And law the first stage of law of variable proportion ends at point M, where MP and AP intersects each other. So here, first stage ends at the point where MP and AP intersects each other. This is the intersection point. At this point, they both intersects each other, and at this stage, the first stage ends. Then second stage starts thereafter up to the points where marginal product of the labor becomes 0, and after that the third stage of the law of variable proportion starts. Right. Then in the second stage, so first stage is known as stage of increasing return, market. In the second stage, in between OM to ON, second stage lies in between, you see here, in between OM to ON. This is the second stage. This is the second stage, OM to ON. Right. In the second stage, in between OM to ON, total product increases only at a diminishing rate, and both AP and MP, that is average product and marginal product, goes on diminishing. This is the stage of diminishing return. This stage ends at the point N, where MP becomes 0. So second stage ends at the point N. Right. You see, this stage ends at point N, where marginal product becomes 0. It is mentioned here. This is 0. Okay. Then the third stage of the law starts at the point N in the diagram. During the stage, total product and average product goes on falling, but marginal product becomes negative. As marginal product becomes negative, this stage is known as stage of negative return. Right. So from the above discussion, we are clear that increasing return, diminishing return, and negative return are the three stages or the three phases of the law of variable proportions, and every producer or firm will decide to operate his production process only in the second stage. Why? Why they have to stop their production process in the second stage? Because it gives him the maximum production by optimum utilization of factory inputs. At that point, there is optimum utilization of factors, both fixed and variable factors. They are optimum. There is optimum utilization, and it gives rise to maximum production. So at the end of second stage, each producer must stop the production. So this is all about law of variable proportions, which is operated in the short-run production function. Now we will discuss the loss operator in the long-run production function in brief. Okay, come to that, and that will be discussed by the returns to scale. You see, in the long run, what is long run? Long run means there is time enough to change all the factors of production. In order to increase production, we are getting enough time to change the size of all the factors of production. There is no fixed factor, there is no variable factor, all becomes variable in the long run, right? So you see, returns to scale is operated in the long run production function, returns to scale. The law of variable proportion arises because factor proportions change as long as one factor is held constant and other is increased. Why law of variable proportion is operated? Because in this case, one factor is fixed, but other factor is variable. What if both factors can change? Both factors cannot be changed in short run. Both the factors can be changed only in the long run, in the long period. Remember that this can happen only in the long run. One special case in the long run occurs when both factors are increased by the same proportion. When both factors are increased by the same proportion or factors are scaled up, it is operator. The return to scale can be operator. When a proportional increase in all inputs results in an increase in output by the same proportion, that means the proportional increase in input becomes the proportional increase in output, or the output changes to the same proportion as the input changes, then the production function is said to be constant returns to scale. It displays constant returns to scale, where we can say that the returns to scale become constant, where the size of change in inputs become the size of change in output, or the proportional change in inputs become the proportional change in output. In that case, constant returns to scale is operator. When a proportional increase in all inputs results in an increase in output by a larger proportion, for example, we have increased the size of inputs by 2 times, but the size of output is increased by 3 times. In that case, the proportional increase in output is more than the proportional increase in inputs. So that is known as the production function. In this case, display increasing returns to scale, that is IRS. Increasing returns to scale. Then decreasing returns to scale holds when a proportional increase in all inputs result in an increase in output by a smaller proportion. You increase the size of inputs. For example, you increase the size of inputs by 3 times, but the output increases only by 2 times. So proportional increase in output is less than the proportional increase in input in this case. So this is known as decreasing returns to scale or diminishing returns to scale, that is DRS. Right? Suppose in a production process all inputs get doubled, and as a result the output gets doubled. First case, you see the stage of what is known as constant returns to scale. What do you mean by constant returns to scale? The size or the proportional change in inputs becomes proportional change in output. Here we have given an example. You see, here we have given an example that if in the production process all inputs gets doubled, as a result the output gets doubled, then the production function exhibits CRS, that means constant returns to scale. But when the output is less than doubled, then it is diminishing returns to scale. It is diminishing returns to scale. That means you double the inputs, but output is less than the double. Then it is diminishing or decreasing returns to scale. Then if it is more than double, that it is means the output becomes more than double by increasing the inputs twice, then it is known as increasing returns to scale. So in returns to scale is a concept which is applied in the long run production function. I told you, in the long run production all the factors of the production can be changed, can be increased. If in order to increase the production by twice or 2 times, you increase the size of inputs twice by 2 times, or we can say the proportional increase in inputs is same as proportional increase output, or proportional increase in output is same as proportional increase in input. This is a case of constant returns to scale. But if the proportional increase in output is less than the proportional increase in inputs, it is the case of diminishing returns to scale. But if the proportional increase in output is more than proportional increase in output is more than the proportional increase in inputs, then it is known as increasing returns to scale. So mark three concepts: constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and diminishing returns to scale. These are the concepts which can be applied in the long run production function. So in this part we have learnt about the laws associated with the short run production function, that is law of variable proportion, and in the long run production function they are the returns to scale, concept of returns to scale like constant returns to scale, increasing returns to scale, and diminishing returns to scale. So this is all for today in this part. Again we will go to the next chapters in our next part. Thank you all.